Hello, this is Lisa from Dear Diary Coffeehouse. This week I'm working on illustrations for our coffee labels. We don't have any of our own roast on the shelves yet, and that's because I'm the holdup. If you want to see what my first illustration looks like and how I did that, I'll put the link in the description. In this video, I'm going to tell you what all went into this illustration. Okay, so with this one, I started by creating photo reference for the drawing. So I picked my favorite still frame from this video, and then what you don't see, what I didn't capture, is I took that still frame into the sketchbook app and I traced the major lines. And then there was a struggle. I attempted to trace the image onto sketchbook paper using my window as a light box, but oh my god, that would have been way too tedious, and I figured that out within like seconds. So then I trimmed a sheet of sketchbook paper so I could fit it in my printer, and I was able to ink on sketchbook paper over those major lines that I had traced from the photo reference. Okay, so tracing all these lines was extremely tedious. There's nothing fun about just like taking a ruler and whatever. So I got a little distracted and I took a break to work on my vegan gluten-free yeast donut recipe. Anyone can make cake donuts vegan and gluten-free. Those are just donut-shaped muffins at the end of the day. But yeast donuts are really hard. I've never seen them in town, so I wanted to do it. So I did. And after many batches of trying different things, I finally got a donut batter that would rise and would get those yeasty air pockets and would actually hold its structure and would not dry out. Today is the second day, and see, like it hasn't dried. I accidentally over baked them. Ooh, there, see, you see that? You see that crumb? Arr. So I've already eaten a half dozen of these, so I'm not going to eat this too. But those are yeast pockets there that you can't get any other way. And then I was like, well, I hate drawing lines with rulers, so why don't we be distracted a little longer and make some cupcakes while we're at it? And these, I'm just so excited because it's vegan and gluten-free. And it's just so hard to bake that way. You have to use all the food science knowledge or all of the experimenting that you can. And in my case, it's experimenting because I didn't go to culinary school. But look at that crumb. And they're like, oops, they're still super moist even the next day, which if you bake gluten-free, you know that stuff dries out really fast. But these are like, oh, just like box cupcake texture. I wish I could hand this to you through the video. So I've eaten a half dozen of these too, and I have a stomachache, so I'm not even gonna. I was like, well, now that I have these perfect recipes, I guess I need to throw up a website for my cottage baking business, Vegan Girlfriend, get it? Because VGF, vegan, yeah. So now I have vegangirlfriend.net. I have a little website thrown up on there. And then I was like, well, now I need to organize my Instagrams because I have 3 different businesses now. I have art, I have Dear Diary Coffeehouse, and I have Vegan Girlfriend. So I did that. And then I ran out of excuses. Nope, I didn't. Because I was so full of sugar, I was like, well, I gotta go ride my bike around the lake now to work off all of this sugar. P.S. I had 2 more cupcakes this morning for breakfast, so I'm very hyper at the moment. So more bike riding will come. But I'm getting distracted. What are we talking about? Oh yes, the illustrations. So I did all that, and then it was time to color. So in my last illustration, the single track one, I really struggled with color. Like 50% of that video is just me goofing around with different blending modes. I accidentally said blending mediums in the video, but blending modes to just try to like arrive at some color that I liked, and it took a lot of time. This time, color was a cinch, and that is because I had promised myself that I would start with an existing color palette and just go from there, and I did. So I belong to a like club in Austin called Austin Sketch Group. One of the members, John David Brown, he is fantastic. I don't like he needs to be famous. And he recently posted an image that he had drawn, or a drawing that he had drawn of football players, and the color scheme was super cool and like really kind of like vintage 90s wild, a little like dark, crazy subject matter, but then these bright colors, which was really neat. And he's like OG. He and most of the sketch group people are Gen Xers, so their comic book or their art heroes that they grew up with are comic book artists like Jack Kirby and the Pioneers, and so their influence is so cool. And I don't know, I'm just a super fan, so I was really delighted to have an excuse to borrow from John David Brown and talk up my friend in this video. So in this episode, my camera rig was a syrup bottle and 2 shelving anchors, all tied together with inner tube, cut up bicycle inner tube. Okay, so I colored it. That didn't take too long. And then I took it back into Figma so I could do the copy layout over it. And in the last video, I had said, oh, Josh is going to tinker with the layout and we'll see what he does. So what he ended up doing with the single track illustration was he flipped the artwork, because I guess he likes the feeling of the title being in the lower right-hand corner. I guess he wants the lower right to feel heavy and create a diagonal with the logo to the upper left. So I ended up flipping this image too. I guess I'll mention that this time around, so I totally like destroyed my microns. So Dear Diary Coffeehouse sells art supplies, and I yoinked some Le Pen liners from the coffee shop. And one of the things that I got that really helped this time around was the brush pen. So instead of having India ink and your own little watercolor brush, you could just use a brush pen. I'm getting like donut sugar on it. And that's helpful for areas where you just need to black out an area and you don't want it to take forever and you don't want to burn through the nib of your little 0.08 millimeter liner. So yeah, okay, I hope you enjoyed that. And I will talk to you shortly, I hope, because I have another illustration to do. Goodbye.